Hello, my friends. Rob Roselli coming to you once again on the Not Fox News Network. Today being Tuesday, June the 13th, 2017. And again, the website boxofsunglasses.com, email info at boxofsunglasses.com, Twitter at Rob Roselli, and Facebook Rob Roselli1. And just to review, the last several weeks we've been going through various parts of the Bible, and don't forget the three basic principles to listen and follow what I'm saying here and try to keep this real simple and short. I know people are busy. Knowledge shall increase. People running to and fro, going insane basically. Too much information and people going insane in general, per Daniel chapter 12. So I try to keep things really very simple. Number one is the Bible is the core of the quote conspiracy. Take it or leave it. Okay, number two, Israel, national Israel, physical Israel is not God's chosen people. Okay, they gave that up. I don't know how many times we've gone over this, and ad nauseum. But it's just not true. Okay, and if you believe that, and these clowns on these so-called Christian channels, send money to Israel and all this sort of thing, you're really missing what's unfolding before our eyes. Right here in the waning days of humanity and human history. Okay, that's about to explode into a chaotic climax of biblical proportions. Okay, so forget national Israel. Okay, I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just going about what the Bible says, and that's it. Okay, and there will be a certain remnant that will be saved per Ezekiel 36 here at the end, and I'm happy to report that, okay, but I'm just saying, for your benefit, especially if you're in the United States, listening to this right now, you come across this video, forget all that nonsense. There's not a lot of time left to screw around here, okay. Anyway, that's principle number two. And number three segues right into number three, is that there's no doubt that the United States is the mystery Babylon of Revelation 17 and 18, and perhaps we'll touch on that in a little bit tonight from a different direction. Okay, and there is a link posted on my site, Mystery Babylon USA, that breaks down line by line Revelation 17 and 18, which is unfolding exactly like today's headlines. Okay, it describes the physical destruction of this entity known as Mystery Babylon, which, have no doubt, is New York City, the New York City, Washington D.C. complex, perhaps the United States as a whole, but definitely this. And I'm saying that beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's no other interpretation. I believe that's correct, and that's what we're seeing play out in that scenario. Okay, in other words, things happening very quickly, very chaotically, and not according to some kindergarten Christianity timeline that people have been developing with a pre-tribulation rapture, a 7-year tribulation, and a mid-tribulation rapture in the Jews of Israel, and two guys, or Moses and Elijah, throwing fireballs over there in Jerusalem with a comic book Antichrist in his temple, and everybody watching it on CNN, and bodies lying in the streets. And you can go onto my archives, okay, for example, and they talk about in depth the two witnesses of Revelation. Okay, I don't have the exact date in front of me right at this second, but if you go to the archives again, boxofsunglasses.com, on the opening page are the archive videos, and you can look that one up where I describe what the two witnesses are, for example. And again, okay, it's not the comic book, two guys throwing fireballs around Jerusalem. It's just not. And so the point is, okay, the current events are happening. They're happening very rapidly, and they are covered in the Bible if you know how to look for them and properly interpret them. Okay, and that's kind of the subject of tonight's show. So now just watching the insanity, okay, that is the United States, or this nation formerly known as the United States, which isn't my country. It's this Rockefeller Foundation, Rockefeller Rothschild complex controlled demonic, and I mean that literally, controlled entity known as the United States. Okay, those that worship Moloch and Apollo, or Osiris, the sun god from ancient Egypt. And I'm just going to touch on that very broadly tonight, but Apollyon, just a review, okay, and then we'll kind of kind of narrow back down to the insanity and the impending war that these psychopaths want, that their useful idiot, their stupid white liberal college kiddies are supporting unknowingly their own deaths. Okay, we're going to get into that in a second. Just to review real quickly, I mean, who's running the show? Again, it's this guy here. Okay, Apollo or Osiris or Apollyon from Revelation 9, who the stone that the builders rejected. Remember Matthew 21 and Psalm 118. Jesus calls out himself as the stone the builders rejected. Well, the immediate implication is, well, then there's a stone that the builders accepted, right? If they rejected one, they accepted another one, and here he is, okay, in the top of your Federal Reserve note, in the form of Pan, or Pandemonium, or Chaos, or Dionysus, or Bacchus, okay, or Chaos, okay. That's what these people want, okay. David Rockefeller, who we talked about in a recent video in the past couple of weeks, who I'm glad to say, and maybe that's the wrong word, but he gets what he deserves, okay, along with his underlings. Okay, he's not going to become some transhuman, like they're all researching, these rich with their deep underground military bunkers and, researching transhumanism and, immortality through technology and all this nonsense. It's not going to work out for him and many others. Okay, they got their internal destination sealed, okay, with their god Apollyon or Apollo, and as god of the underworld and the abyss, where time is going to be forever, that they're going to be locked into. He's known as Kronos. Okay, he used to be known as Saturn in Rome, but he keeps circling around. Okay, this I know I'm speaking very broadly here. I'm just trying to make the bridge between biblical prophecy, quote, mythology, and what's happening in today's world, because it's all connected. Okay, but again, just getting back, I mean, it all keeps circling around this thing here: Apollo, Apollyon, Osiris, king of the underworld, Revelation 9, Kronos or Saturn, the king of time. Okay, they wanted time. Okay, they need time to get their stupid, if you go level below, these anti-God heathens, David Rockefeller and the elites, who gave us evolution and communism, okay, by using, they utilize evolution to get rid of God and bring in communism, which is just basically the state controlling people instead of God, as this nation's founding document specifies. Okay, Mystery Babylon's founding documents when it was known as the United States. Okay, but anyway, they will get their wish. Okay, Richard Dawkins and these, Carl Sagan, these people on the media that spread this communist, atheistic, godless lie that don't want God to exist and, circumvent the laws of science by just burying their idiotic theories in endless time. I mean, just basically what they're saying is, with enough time, anything is possible. With enough time, the iPad or the computer or whatever you're looking into right now can assemble itself from the various electronic parts. Okay, it's basically what they're saying. Okay, with evolution, really, it doesn't make any sense. It's just to justify the non-existence of God. So, as we're going to discuss here in a little bit, they will get their wish. Okay, they will be granted their wish. Okay, and that's a physical kind of in the Old Testament. Okay, it was a physical manifestation of the king they wanted. Okay, in the New Testament, it's going to be more of a spiritual acquisition. Okay, it's going to be a spiritual acquisition of the kingdom that they've desired. Okay, really going back to the Garden of Eden. Okay, and I hope I'm doing a good job of explaining this. And again, I'm going to try and funnel this down here in a couple minutes. I'm just trying to give the background of what's happening here, of what you're seeing unfolding in the nation's capital, and in the capital of Mystery Babylon. Okay, and just as an aside, okay, just getting back to the Mystery Babylon USA thing, with which I'm saying is going to be consist of a surprise EMP nuclear, maybe biological or combination thereof, ambush of these United States. Okay, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's not going to be some stupid, 7-year tribulation or something. It's going to be an ambush. The United States is going to be gone in a day. Okay, in that case, I'm not really a biblical literalist, but I believe that's That's what's described there, and that's what we're building up to. Okay, if you think about it. Okay, because if you think about it, if you're Vladimir Putin, you're over there in Russia, and you're watching these idiots. Okay, I mean these sub idiots, these congressional whores. Okay, these disgusting septic tank floatables. Okay, and I mean that literally. If you go ahead and read, for example, Zephaniah chapter 1, okay, or Nahum chapter 3, okay, and you see how those so-called minor prophets describe the pond scum of humanity. Okay, that's kind of coagulated at the top of the pyramid, or just a level below the top of the pyramid, which isn't a surprise because a level below the top of the pyramid, which is at the top of the pyramid, the stone that the builders accepted. Okay, so these pieces of crap in Washington who know, okay, about the quote deep state. I mean, 10 years ago, even Rush Limbaugh, the rest of the deep state, those conspiracy theory, Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg, everybody's using the term deep state. What the hell do you think the deep state is? Okay, the deep state's what I call the un-American genocidal complex. Genocide as in genocidal maniacs, okay, as in people that want 90% of the world's population dead. Okay, we're seeing them manifest itself in real time here. Okay, the idiots on TV, holding Trump's head, a bloodied head, or getting killed in front of some so-called theater in Central Park. Okay, they don't really hate Trump. Okay, well, they hate Trump personally. They hate half of America and they want to see it dead. They hate the America that voted for Trump or that support his policies or support the old America. They literally want to see us dead. Well, let's just cut the crap here and get right to the point. That's what this is really saying. Okay. And with everything swirling around, these little pieces of crap, this swamp, which I think is too generous a term, it really should be called a septic tank, with the pieces of crap that you see talking on the so-called mainstream news. That's really the analogy. I think that's appropriate here. Are going to get what they deserve. Okay. Again, they're going to get infinity under their god Kronos, okay, and that's just a spiritual realization again of what God told Samuel, okay, way back there in the Old Testament, okay, and what goes along with that, okay. So again, and I apologize, I know I keep going off on tangents here, but I mentioned Putin just to revisit that. Putin's sitting there. And he's watching these imbeciles, okay, these vacuous dummies, senators so-called, supposedly the cream of the crop, but really just the crap that's floated to the top, okay. He's watching that, and what do you think he's thinking now? You have the only rational person, and I'm not saying Trump's perfect, and I'm not deifying the man, okay, but you have these psychopaths who will do anything to get rid of him, and what's going to fill that vacuum? Queen Hillary, Queen Jezebel, the abortion queen, the ultimate deep state, Council on Foreign Relations, Goldman Sachs, military-industrial complex, Margaret Sanger Project, leader, Queen Jezebel. That's who these stupid liberals, that's who you want, okay, or someone like her, or Pharaoh Barry, okay, the image of the beast, and I mean that literally, okay, the image of the beast, Pharaoh Barry, who's still kind of plopping around, by the way, just like a certain serpent, okay, known as Satan / Lucifer or Cain in the Old Testament, still kind of slithering around out, by the way, out there in the background, Pharaoh Barry, and I just have a feeling, and this is just an inkling, that he's not done yet, okay, he will be back, all right. You can read about Pharaoh Barry and all the numerology and numerical connections to him in ancient Egypt, again on the opening page of my site, boxofsunglasses.com. But let's just leave that be for now and just get into the subject at hand. Now, I mentioned 1 Samuel chapter 8. Now, what's going on in 1 Samuel chapter 8 is that Samuel was old. This is 1 Samuel chapter 1. He had a couple of corrupt sons that became judges over Israel. All right. So you're already starting, it's already a little bit of a foreshadowing of this line of kings that would come to rule Israel when it was 12 tribes. And of course, after the death of King Solomon, his sons Rehoboam and Jeroboam split up. Okay, they couldn't decide amongst each other, and I think it was Jeroboam took the 10 so-called northern tribes and formed the nation of Israel. That's called Israel. Then the 2 southern tribes, Judah and Levi, I believe it was, or Benjamin, I don't remember, but Judah was definitely one of them. The two, and be that as it may, the 2 southern tribes became Judah. Okay, and each met their own inglorious fate. Okay, not unlike the fate on Waiting Mystery Babylon here, but Mystery Babylon's going to get much, much worse. Okay, but the descriptions, the Old Testament descriptions about the destruction, you can read about that. I'm going to get into that right now. Jeremiah 50 through 52 example, off the top of my head, is the best place. Besides, if you read the minor, so-called minor prophets, Zephaniah, Nahum, and others, okay, Amos, okay, about what's the impending destruction at the time of Israel, which really is a foreshadowing of the impending destruction of Mystery Babylon. Okay, but anyway, the ultimate goal, or the ultimate destination of these 2 so-called nations of God's so-called chosen people. But anyway, getting back to 1 Samuel 8, so, they took bribes, turned aside after lucre, money, bribes, perverted judgment. We're talking about here, the ancient Israel, or the cesspool, okay, the District of Criminals, or the District of Columbia. Okay, stupid asses, just a little sidebar. There you are, and in these so-called Capitol Hill, capital named after the, not capital like, money capital, but the capital named after the capital in Rome and Columbia, named the female goddess Isis, basically, is what you're named after, you stupid asses. So there you are in your womb of Isis, tagging the last vestige. Again, I'm not saying of the remnants of what was America, as represented by Donald Trump. As your phallus of Osiris or Apollo, okay, the 555-foot tall, or 6,660 inch tall, with its 55.5 or 6,666 inch square, each side square base, phallus of Osiris overshadows you in your womb of Isis, or Columbia, the District of Columbia, known as the Washington Monument. So can anybody please, if anybody has a better candidate for Mystery Babylon, okay, again, and I know I apologize for breaking the subject here, I need to know about it, okay, a nation that was founded on Christian principles and to be followed, okay, morally and politically, okay, now has a bunch of pond scum bashing the last vestiges of what was Christian America inside the womb of Isis, looking at the phallus of Osiris, known as the Washington Monument. I mean, can it get any more obvious? Okay, and again, that's the male-female principle. And I'll just circle to this real quick so we can see the God that we're really worshiping here, because we're going to get into some pretty terrible stuff. And again, there it is. There's your invisible college, okay, the predecessor to the so-called deep state. There's your rose plus your cross, your male plus your female, your Washington Monument plus your Columbia, right there, okay, your womb of Columbia. Rosicrucians, the 18th degree of Freemasonry, okay. Your 1.618, okay, the inverse of 0.618, okay, or the golden ratio, okay, 0.618. 18 divided by 6, 603 scored 6, 666. Okay, can it be any more obvious? Okay, again, Revelation 13:8, count or calculate the number of the beast. It's centered around this number here, and it's right in our face. Deep state, rose plus the cross, golden ratio, baby Lucifer flying around up here. Okay, I don't know how much more obvious it can be, if you know where to look, and if you interpret the Bible correctly, and not like these kiddie Christians on the so-called Christian networks, you know, are telling you to believe. But anyway, because what we're getting into here is you know, just getting back to 1 Samuel 8 is pretty awful. Okay, so just the backdrop is the deep state is behind this drive for the economic chaos and the war, World War III, that's unfolding. So, you know, Putin's over there saying, I can't deal with these psychopaths, and Trump's gone. I got to kill them, or they're going to kill me. These people want to kill me. They want war. These are warmongers. Okay, this is Hillary Clinton deep state. This is what Putin's thinking. Let's just cut the crap. Okay, I'm just stupid me sitting here in my, you know, my downstairs and you know, my barely home office. You could come up with this crap. You think Putin's not over there thinking the same thing? I mean, how smart do you have to be? Do you need a political science degree or a doctorate from stupid Harvard? Okay, those Rockefeller, Ford Foundation, Ivy League dumbasses at Harvard. As a matter of fact, you know, I'd say you go to those Ivy League schools, you get dumber. Been saying that for years, okay, because you're operating under the Rockefeller Foundation money that's been poisoning the minds of America for the past 100 years, okay, and it's really, no one is more singly responsible for where the condition of this world is than David Rockefeller, which is why I made the last show or whatever it was a couple weeks ago. Rest in hell, David Rockefeller. Rest in hell with your God Kronos forever, okay. But anyway, just getting back to 1 Samuel chapter 8. So you got this corruption going on, okay. And then what's happening is the Israelites are clamoring for a king, okay. Now the most recent king, interestingly enough, that, you know, that's nearby, that was discussed, is 1 Samuel chapter 5, is the fish god Dagon, okay. Another representation of Osiris or Apollo. I mean, there's links there, and he was kind of the local Apollo, Osiris, or sun god of the Philistines, okay. And if you read 1 Samuel chapter 5, when they captured the ark and, you know, they fought Israel, it didn't work out too good for the Philistines or their sun god Dagon, okay, as kind of a preview of Armageddon, okay, you know, where God takes on the sun god or the bottomless pit. And I want to refrain from going off on that tangent right now, but I'm just saying to go back a few chapters, and that's where you end up. Okay, you know, the stupid, you know, the Catholic, the so-called Christian Catholic Church with his stupid, you know, fish, you know, with his fish hat Dagon, okay, with the Virgin Mary, the Queen of Heaven, representing the female whore goddess Isis, you know, as he, with his fish hat, as he overlooks St. Peter's Square, and the same obelisk that I just talked about, in Washington, D.C., which explains why the city of Rome has long been considered the whore of Babylon for stuff like that. I mean, but anyway, that's not the subject for tonight. But anyway, so they were clamoring for a god. They wanted to be like the Philistines and the Canaanites, and, you know, have a human king and a nice, cool sun god, and, you know, conform to the rest of the world, kind of like the stupid liberals in Europe and America want, you know, be cool, you know, coexist with the religion of peace that'll just assume chop your head off or throw you off a building for being gay or this sort of thing, you know, coexist. But this, you know, it was cool, it was hip, it was Ivy League, you know, it was New Age. Nobody does stupid Bible telling us what to do. We're too smart for that. So you got this kind of mentality going on, and God says, okay, but the thing displeased Samuel when they said, give us a king to judge us, and Samuel prayed unto the Lord. Now remember, just that word judge, now that's a foreshadowing. Remember, if you read John 3:16, yeah, you know, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so who shall believe with him shall not die but have everlasting life. But if you go immediately beyond that, it says, it explains how the judgment works. I mean, Jesus is the Son of God and the King of all humanity, okay, the inheritor, the Great Commission, you know, all authority has been given to me in Matthew chapter 8. It says, those who believe will not be judged but have passed from death unto life. Okay, that's John chapter 5. He said, but John 3:17 says that where the judgment works, if you don't believe in Jesus, okay, i.e. American liberals, who are the worst, okay, and they're deep state overlords who, as I said, worship Moloch or Baal, or just like the Philistines, you will be judged. Okay, you're going to be under judgment. You're under God's judgment. That's what it says. That's the second. That's John 3:17, which doesn't make it onto the the end zone signs and that you see at these football games or basketball games. Okay, so they wanted a judge, and like I said, again, God will grant them their wish. They will get their king/judge. The only problem is it's not going to be God, and this time it's going to be forever. Okay, but let's just follow it back to current events. And then the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people and all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. I'm not going to say it again. Okay, and again, I'm not deifying Trump. Okay, I'm just saying what he represents or what he's trying to represent, whether he succeeds or not. I know he was pro-abortion in his past life, and look, I don't know. Maybe the guy's a born-again Christian. Maybe his wife's praying to God. Maybe they're genuine. Maybe they're not. Okay, I don't really know. But what I do know is that what he represents, or the old America that he represents, is eliciting a response from the same type of people here in 1 Samuel chapter 8 that were clamoring for a king and a God other than the God of the Bible. Okay, this is what we're seeing playing out in real time. Okay, and this is so, and he's saying they have rejected me. So again, Samuel is a fallible human. All of sin and come short of the glory of God. So Samuel may have been a judge, or the last legitimate judge over Israel, and one of God's favorites in the Old Testament, but he's still a human, which means he sinned. Okay, I don't know what his sins were, but as human, we all sinned. Okay, so, but the point is that the parallel is just as with Trump. Okay, they're not rejecting Trump. Okay, what they're really rejecting is what stands behind Trump, or what they perceive stands behind Trump. Okay, I don't want to get diverted into that debate again. Okay, they're looking at Trump as a white male Christian conservative, and that's what they hate so much, which really means what they really hate. Their hatred goes right through Trump. Okay, Trump's just a man to them. They hate God, and they hate the 100 or 150 million people that support Trump and literally want to see us dead. Okay, this is real. Okay, so in other words, that mentality that's been hidden with the un-American genocidal complex. Okay, that mentality that's always been kind of with the elites but hidden, that gave us the abortion, that gave us Margaret Sanger's Negro Project, the black genocide known as abortion and born alive abortion, and slipping the AIDS virus into a smallpox vaccine. Okay, it's bursting over. The hatred, you're seeing it play out. Okay, it's always been there. Okay, as documented again here. Okay, and again, this is available on my site, boxofsunglasses.com. But now you're seeing it. You spill over in the media, in their deep state overlords, in their useful Ivy League idiot underlings. Okay, the Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Endowment funded, complete blanking morons. Okay, useful idiots. Okay, because we're gonna read about them here in a second. Okay, so you got. Let's just read a little bit further. This is 1 Samuel chapter 8. Now, God just said they're not rejecting you, Samuel. They're not rejecting you, Donald Trump. Okay, they're rejecting me. It's an exact parallel. All right. Now, therefore, hearken unto their voice. Oh, excuse me. Let's go back to 8. According to all the works which they have done since the day I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. So you can kind of see God starting to get a little PO'd here. And say, I helped these people out. I took them out of the house of bondage, or the land of bondage, okay, under the Pharaoh, okay, who represented, every Pharaoh represented the offspring of the male plus the female, Osiris plus Isis, baby Horus, okay, the Virgin Mother holding baby Horus, okay, is really what the so-called Catholic Queen of Heaven or Virgin Mary is really what it represents. It's just, it filtered down through, through the Babylonians, to the Greeks, to the Romans, and right into the Roman Catholic Church. But anyway, God's saying, I saved you from that guy. I saved you from Satan, okay, as represented by Pharaoh. I brought you out of there. I gave you manna. I did everything for you. You built the stupid golden calf. I was ready to kill you right there, but Moses, as a foreshadowing of Jesus, obviously, interceded and saved you right there in the desert. God's chosen people, were barely, barely out of Egypt, and God was ready to, really literally just smoke them and end it right there. Okay, these idiotic, Israel first people, I don't know how they missed that one, but anyway, so this is what he's talking about, so you could see his patience starting to wane here, okay. And again, this is what's the parallel to today's society? It's the New Age movement and all this nonsense. This age of Aquarius. Okay, Al Gore coming out in a 2008 Democratic National Convention right before Pharaoh Barry put himself between the columns of Jacob and Boaz, which basically means what he was saying is, I am God. Pharaoh Barry, remember that at the 2008 Democratic National Convention. Okay, there's your Freemason, your sun and your moon, your Jacob and your Boaz, okay, right in the middle. Okay, this is just one example of representation. Is the temple or the house of God or God himself. Okay, so about Pharaoh Barry, I don't have it right here. Here's another example of it. Here's a better example. Okay, Jacob and Boaz, the columns of Freemasonry. You got the pentagram. The G for geometry, the great geometry. Little Lucifer, sun and the moon. Okay, the all-seeing eye, the open eye. Okay, this is our God. In other words, this age of Aquarius. All these so-called religions, these New Age religions. Ye shall be as God. Enlightenment. Illumination. It's all right here. It's all disseminating down from the deep state, which explains the insanity that we're on the verge of. Okay, let's just see if I have it here. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so again, the age of Aquarius, Al Gore came out to maybe, I think it was right at the same day, right before Pharaoh Barry pulled this stunt, okay, made himself God between the columns of Jacob and Boaz, okay, and you can read about those, I think it's in Jeremiah 52, okay, but anyway, that right there, I mean, that's the God that these liberals are clamoring for, okay, which is really the main reason I say that Pharaoh Barry is still out there, still kind of lingering. And I think he's gonna acquire some kind of political position after they finally succeed in getting rid of Trump. Pharaoh Barry will come back on the scene very quickly, either as president of the United States or a fill-in or some kind of president of the United Nations. Okay, to have get that little fake peace treaty, that fake world peace treaty in there. The Great Delusion, I believe, talked about over there in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Okay, and then the United States is gonna get slammed. Okay, because Russia's not gonna, what are they gonna do? They're gonna stand for the United Nations / Pharaoh Barry, a reemergence of him after the person they were relying on, Trump, to kind of just be rational and not keep these stupid, useless wars going, keeping the Queen Jezebel, Hillary military-industrial complex going. Okay, so I'm trying to mesh this all together. Okay, but anyway, let's just read on here. Okay, now therefore, hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of king that shall reign over them. Okay, and Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked him of him a king, and he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. In other words, they're going to war. Military draft. What this says is, in a modern day sense, it's military draft. Okay, and you're seeing calls. It's starting. It's starting. Okay, because if you think about it, okay, Bush, little skull and bones, uh, skull and bones, Eastern Establishment, 322. George Bush Jr., the Republican establishment, D.C. insider, Bush family, those Nazi-supporting lowlifes, okay, the grandfather, okay, tied in with Harriman Railroad interests, which were investigated and I believe brought on trial for collaborating with the Nazis during World War II. But anyway, that brought us the original, so-called war on terror, the global war on terror, whatever you want to call it. Has which have been just 15-year lies, 15 years and counting, okay, in Iraq and Afghanistan. They've just gutted and drained the United States military, okay. But these psychopaths like Queen Jezebel, doing the bidding for her deep state overlords, they want to keep the war machine going. Well, I got news for you. Stupid liberal college kids that think, that wanted, Bernie or Queen Jezebel. Bernie's just a putz. I mean, he was never going to win. Even though he did win, I think he cheated him out of existence, you dumbass, dumbass socialist loser anyway. But, but a fair amount of them wanted Queen Jezebel or Hillary. So, you're going to get a continuation of war. Now, who can forget, Hillary, Queen Jezebel shrieking at the death of Muammar Gaddafi, who warned that if they kill him, if you kill me, you're gonna have a huge power vacuum, like it's happened in Iraq, like it's happened in Afghanistan. Yeah, you got rid of, a semi-thug like Saddam Hussein, but he was, he was keeping the thugs much worse than him, and these degenerates, these so-called religion of peace, these psychopaths at bay. Okay. But the point is that we've wasted our chariots and our horsemen on these useless, stupid wars. But they want the wars keep accelerating. So this in the language of Samuel's day, it's you will take your sons and appoint for himself in chariots. What that says today, the parallel today, is military draft. So I got news for you, little college kiddies who want Queen Jezebel, who hate Trump, who hate America, because that's what your Rockefeller Foundation, stupid idiot Ivy League professors have been filling your minds with, this crap, this sociology, anti-American communist crap that passes for education, this Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Endowment, Ford Foundation funded nonsense. Okay, you're gonna get what you want. Okay, I believe they will get rid of Trump, the deep state. Okay, this is now we're getting biblical. Okay, as intelligent and as savvy as Trump is, the deep state will win out. Okay, because they've made a deal with Satan, and Matthew 4, Satan rules the earth. Okay, and he's going to have his time in the sun, no pun intended, and that's going to be that. So you're going to war. Okay, there will be a draft if the United States lasts that long. Okay, but that's the potential that we're seeing here, and you're seeing signs of it. Okay, they're gearing up for a war in Russia. You're not hearing about it because you keep hearing about this Trump, Jeff Sessions nonsense, but there's huge military movements going on in Europe right now. So again, what's Putin thinking? I mean, Trump doesn't want this war, so who the hell's really running the show over here? Okay, so when Trump's tenuous reign, his tenuous control is completely gone because the Queen Jezebel supporting Republican and Democrat pond scum septic waste in Washington, in the District of Osiris in Columbia. It should be called DOC, the District of Osiris in Columbia. But anyway, when they went out, then it's on. Okay, and your Midwest, your deplorables, or your rednecks, and they really have populated historically the United States military that have just been worn out with these useless wars. Someone's got to fill that void. 18 to 22-year-olds, whatever the military age draft is, get ready, because you wished for Pharaoh Barry, you stupid college kids, and his sidekick, Queen Jezebel, Pharaoh Barry, King Ahab, sidekick, Queen Jezebel / Hillary, Talk about another Old Testament parallel. Okay, going back to First Kings, but anyway, we'll talk about an evil succession of kings, Ahab and Jezebel. But anyway, we're talking about the beginning of that lineage right here. But this is what you're going to get. I mean, Queen Jezebel. I mean, she's a front. She's a devil. Okay, she's a demon. She's a front for these devil worshippers and these builder. She's a Bilderberg, her and her husband, which means she's for the deep state. She's for the endless wars, the profits of the military-industrial complex, and you will be sent to war. Okay. Okay, so now we're on to 1 Samuel chapter 12, and he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. So you're all going to be slaves. Okay. So all you college kids you took out, you dropped $200 or $300 on some stupid Ivy League education. Okay, you got suckered into the to the lie that you need college to get a good job and get ahead, instead of maybe spending 6 months at a technical school and getting some real skills and actually learning something. Well, how are you going to pay those college loans back? Okay, what do you think Uncle Sam has in mind? Okay, military draft, military service in exchange for your, quote, education. Okay. So you're slaves. Just like, in a sense, we're all slaves to the military-industrial complex with the Federal Reserve, with this insane debt to create wealth. Paul Krugman, idiotic Harvard doctorate stupidity, this Keynesian economics, this Fabian socialist nonsense, okay, perpetrated by, things like the Rockefeller-founded New York Slimes, okay, liberal, except when it comes to war. How about that for irony? Okay, the New York Slimes, okay, every stupid liberal cause, be it climate change or evolution or the Trump bashing or supporting the Trump death play in Central Park, But when it comes to war, the Rockefeller founded New York Times, along with the liberal Jews, like the same kind of scum, communist scum that started the American Civil Liberties Union. Okay, I can't remember the guy's name, Oaks or something, but anyway, there was never a war that the New York Slimes didn't support. That right there should, wait a second. That should give people pause. Say, wait a second, your so-called gray lady, or all the news that's fit to print or whatever their logo is, supports every liberal cause. But when it comes to wars, New York Slimes is all over it. This is why these people are so stupid, these American liberals. Anyway, but they're beating the war drums. Okay, they're the ones behind the chariots. Okay, and he will take your daughters to be confectionaries and to be cooks and to be bakers, and he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. Okay, that sounds a lot like, again, the Federal Reserve System with these mortgage scam. Okay, and buying up collateral debt obligations or CDOs or whatever they're called, and repackaging them. Who the hell knows? It's a plate of spaghetti. But the point is, they print the money, they own the money, and we use that money, which are really instruments of debt, which means we're already slaves to the Federal Reserve System. Okay, the only reason why I say rest in hell David Rockefeller, because him and his family, and along with the Rothschilds and a few others, are responsible not only for the three world wars, and I said three. Yeah, we've only had two. But there was a third world war on the way. It's kind of in the backdrop of what we're talking about here. But anyway, so it all kind of gloms together on some level. I know it's not a perfect analogy, but it's close enough. Obviously, the context and the technology and the facade has changed, I guess, is an analogy. Okay, the facade On the outside of the building has changed, but it's the same rotten whorehouse. I mean, figuratively and maybe literally. This whole Pizzagate thing, which I don't know a lot about, if that thing explodes, you know. But anyway, just getting back to this, you know, that's, if you read Proverbs 7, you can read about the spiritual whorehouse, okay, and the spiritual ISIS, and which represents fake religions. I don't want to go off on a tangent right now, but again, it's kind of swirling around this idea. But you know, what I'm trying to say, let's just read a little bit more. And he will take your manservants and your maidservants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants, and ye shall cry out in that day because of your king which ye shall have chosen, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. In other words, when it gets real, and that day is coming in Mystery Babylon here, and people start, these stupid liberals, okay, these evolutionists, okay, they're gonna know that God is real. I think this kind of touches on Revelation chapter 6. Excuse me, the sixth seal of Revelation. It's not going to work out for you. I mean, you wanted your abortion, you wanted your born alive abortion, your partial birth abortion, you wanted your Queen Jezebel, you wanted this so-called sexual revolution, which really has its roots, we discussed this in the past, of this freak, this pedophile freak known as Alfred Kinsey, okay, who did a lot of the base of the so-called sexual revolution was really a pedophile, a Rockefeller Foundation, in large part funded pedophile, rest in hell, David Rockefeller, okay. This is all the stuff you wanted, okay. These are the kinds of things you were looking for, the welfare, okay, to quote, the free government goodies, okay, which was really a trap set by Rockefeller, Rothschild, and friends with their Federal Reserve System. I mean, come right in and get all your free stuff. You know, now we own you, which is what's really the parallel to 1 Samuel chapter 8. But you've consciously, you know, laughed off God and laughed off stupid Christians and, you know, evolution. You know, we like evolution, we don't like God, which Hitler also liked. But anyway, that's not tonight's subject. But all this stuff, and God's going to say, okay, here's your king, this guy, and that's it. When you cry for him, don't cry for me, because you're going to get him. You wanted him, you got him. Okay, that's really what this is saying. And nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, like Europe and the European Union, and see how that's working out for them. Okay, then our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. Well, that's not really going to work out, because Samuel just got done saying, idiots, in parentheses, he's not going to fight. You are. You're going to be making his chariots, and you're going to be out there running in front of them. Okay. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go you every man unto his city. In other words, get the hell out of here. You wanted it, you got it. Okay, now, and you know, of course, this is, you know, in ancient Israel, this was King Saul, who had a certain charisma, kind of a tall and charismatic kind of guy. He started off okay, started off with a lot of promises, a lot of hot air, but ended up at the end of his life just basically going insane and going to the riches of Endor, which he was told not to, violating his own law, okay, in contacting, you know, the dead and evil spirits and that sort of thing, and really just went to an inglorious end, okay. That was the first king, King Saul, okay. So anyway, so hopefully I've tried to make this parallel here. And again, this all kind of ties together. So, again, boxofsunglasses.com. In these times, God's Simple Salvation Plan is probably the most important thing I have to offer. That's no charge, and I don't advertise. Okay, I got a couple links to other websites, but this is pleased to meet you. Okay, kind of helps explain the insanity. Okay, on a certain level, a fictional conversation that discusses real biblical and historical events. Okay, it's basically that book. It's basically Orwell's 1984 with a twist. Okay, and of course the Un-American Genocidal Complex, which is really just a very brief overview into the deep state and the evil that they're capable of, such as Darwinism, the creation of Adolf Hitler, the deployment of the AIDS virus. Okay, radical environmentalism, not legitimate environmentalism. Okay, radical environmentalism that caused for literally Malthusian, Thomas Malthus, Harvard, John Holdren, scientific advisor to Farrell Barry. Okay, that kind of radical environmentalism that caused literally for the deaths of billions of people to save Mother Earth. Okay, that book is just a very brief overview into the genocidal tendencies of the deep state. Okay, certainly doesn't cover everything, but if you read it and you see what it's saying, and say, wait a second, if the deep state can create Hitler, give us Darwinism, give us eugenics, give us abortion, radical environmentalism, which is, those things alone are responsible, AIDS virus, hundreds of millions of deaths, the leap from hundreds of millions of deaths to billions of deaths is insignificant. It's there, and we're seeing that evil manifest itself and then come out and become really almost like alive at the end here. Okay, so again, and then of course the original, just real quickly, they live, great society of the undead, and maybe this word great can tie into this whole conversation as well. It's a code name for the devil, or Apollo, or Apollyon, the guy who resides at the type of this thing, or the top of this thing. Okay, that's, as yeah, the great society, which hasn't been so great, so there has to be another meaning to it. Okay, the great society, which really has just destroyed the black family and the black population in this country, as it was designed to do. Okay, the Democrats, have been fighting civil rights and, supporting slavery for 100 years, and, when that hold on the black population finally gave way in the 60s, well, their new hold on the black population, besides killing them through abortion, through Margaret Sanger's Negro Project, as Charles Darwin specified in The Origin of Species, getting rid of the savages. But anyway, that's a subject for another day. The way they hold on the black population is the great society, but any idiot can tell you, or could have told you, and did tell you, people did warn you, can't just give people, you can't just destroy a whole family structure and give people free money, free government money, expect them to improve. Of course it's resulted in just the destruction of the black race, okay, in this nation, okay. So it's not a great society in determining, it's like great, like, oh yeah, it's a good thing. No, it's a great because the code name for their god, Apollyon, is great. Great Depression was so great. I'm going to make the argument on it, great was a way to describe it, but no. The Great War, World War I. Why would you call a war great? What would be great? What was so great about that? It wasn't great if you're in the trenches, asphyxiated on mustard gas, or dying of your wounds, or getting eaten by rats that were running around hungry in the trenches. Okay, it wasn't so great. Okay, if you were in World War I, it was great. If you were J.P. Morgan or the original John D. Rockefeller, father to rest in hell, David Rockefeller, okay, that was great for them in terms of profits, okay, and great for them because it was to honor their god who demanded human sacrifice, Apollo or Apollyon. Okay, I'm starting a whole nother subject here, but anyway, that's the real meaning of this word great. Okay, and this is available. That's fully documented in section 3 of this book. Okay, which is available as a PDF download. Okay, and that one there, you're on the honor system. Okay, to pay for it. But anyway, so this is the grasp. Again, the grasp is quote conspiracy. The grasp, the magnitude of this conspiracy. You need the Bible. Not only do you need it, but you need a proper interpretation of it. And again, just to circle back to the beginning, and I'll end it here. If you're stuck on stupid, okay, with these so-called evangelicals and their Israel, and I'm not being anti-Israel. I'm just saying that if you're stuck on those interpretations, and you're saying, well, John Hagee says these things have to, Hal Lindsey says this way has to go down, so I'm, until we see these two guys, when these two guys show up in Jerusalem, they don't know the tribulation's right around the corner. No. Okay, it's happening now, and it's going to come much more rapidly and much more chaotic. Okay, much more chaotic. Because remember, the God of chaos. Okay, right now, see this burning economy right here. The Rothschild fund that is going to rise. This is what they want. Their God that they serve to rise out of the chaos. It's coming much more rapidly, much more dramatically. Okay, than some comic book, TV miniseries, version of Christianity that you've been hearing about. Okay, and I'll conclude it here. Rob Roselli, boxofsunglasses.com. 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday and Thursday. If I'm not here live, again, the archives are on the website, boxofsunglasses.com. Good night and God bless.